It just had to be 12 years, didn't it? Hey everybody, welcome to Mainly Movies. As part of my coverage of the 2023 Sundance Film Festival, today I'm going to be talking about the 2023 romantic drama Past Lives, which will be released in theaters on June 2nd. If you're new here, please consider subscribing for a variety of movie-related content like reviews, rank lists, and trailer reactions. All of my reviews include a breakdown of the pros and cons, my rating, and some tailored film recommendations, so be sure to watch through to the end of this video for all of that extra content. Past Lives stars Greta Lee, Tae Yoo, and John Margaro, and is the directorial debut of Celine Seung. It tells the story of two close childhood friends who cyclically reunite and must contend with the nature of their relationship across 24 years of their lives. Connection is a funny thing. Sometimes you can anticipate it, but other times it just hits you out of the blue. Sometimes you understand the connection and can clearly trace the reasoning behind it, while other times it doesn't make much sense, but it's there nonetheless. When I was at Sundance, I wasn't even planning on seeing this movie. It got added to the lineup late, and none of the showings fit my schedule, so despite the extremely positive word of mouth, I had resigned myself to missing out on it. But during one of my final days in Utah, a last-minute press screening was added, and I woke up at 5 a.m. to make sure I could get over to Park City and get in line, because I wasn't gonna miss it. I almost didn't see this film, and yet it ended up being my favorite of the festival, and the movie I connected with the most. Like I said, connection's a funny thing, whether you're talking about connection in a relationship or your connection to a film. And in the case of Past Lives, I connected with the movie as much as I did because of a relationship. Past Lives is a deceptively simple story from a plot perspective. It's a quiet, meditative film, and while I wouldn't necessarily characterize it as a slow burn, it's a very leisurely paced movie. It's not the kind of movie where a lot of things happen. No big plot moments, no massive life-changing events, no grand romantic gestures involving boomboxes or meeting at the top of the Empire State Building. It's just a simple relationship drama that plays out over 24 years, using a slightly nonlinear structure and emphasizing the passage of time. It's a movie full of dialogue, but it's just as much about the silence of quiet experiences, too. It's about longing and reminiscing and missing and always wondering, what if? But even though the actual events of this film's plot could be summarized in only a few sentences, those words could never truly capture the essence of the film, because it's not really about the plot or the simplicity of the story. It's about the characters and their relationship. It's about connection. This film is built around a concept known as inyon, even deriving the name Past Lives from this idea. Now, obviously, I am no expert on Korean culture, but the basic idea of inyon, as presented by the movie, is that some people have fate-based connection to one another, that their meeting and the inexplicably strong bond they have isn't an accident or just by chance, but rather is predestined, that over the course of many past lives, those two people, or souls, or whatever, crossed paths, and over time, that built up to the point where their fate became intertwined, and it was an inevitability that they would actually find each other eventually in one life. This movie explores that idea, and kind of bases the central relationship around it as the characters grapple with trying to understand the constant pull that they have towards one another, and trying to determine if this is the life, or maybe just a life that would eventually become one of the past lives on their inyon journey. This is a story that I think a lot of people will be able to connect with, and draw very personal parallels to their own lives. I know I was certainly able to. In fact, this movie hit me really hard. Going in, I didn't really have any emotional expectations for the film, and I definitely didn't expect to connect with it as deeply as I did. This is a movie about a very close bond between two people, at its core, a friendship. And it's about those two people being close, and then losing touch for a very long time, and then suddenly reconnecting before disappearing from each other's lives again just as suddenly. It's about a melancholic cycle of loss, yearning, and reconnection. And so as I was watching the movie, I didn't expect it to so closely parallel aspects of my life and my relationship with my best friend. Scenarios, conversations, certain lines that were pretty much verbatim to things we've said to each other, even the way too coincidentally specific 12-year gap. The parallels were jarringly uncanny. I felt a similar unexpected connection to the Banshees of Inisherin last year because of this same friendship, and I talked about it some in that review, but this one somehow hits even harder. I guess maybe it's because it puts a name to it all. Inyon. I realize that not everyone is going to feel as achingly personal of a connection to this film, but the emotional resonance of the story is bound to hit you, even if you're just experiencing it through the characters on the screen. This movie will make you feel something. These characters seem like real people, and their story has a broadly relatable quality to it. I mean, the whole film has a very real, this could be anybody's life kind of feel to it. Other than perhaps the frequently beautiful cinematography, nothing here feels like it's out of a movie, or that it couldn't happen in real life. It's too imperfect for that. It's too inconvenient, and heart-aching, and gut-wrenching, and frustrating, and satisfyingly unsatisfying for that. But that's the point. Connection is a funny thing. Alright, let's talk about the pros and cons. Pro number one is the emotional resonance. I think nearly all romance films strive for some degree of emotion. They want to highlight the relationship or romance at the center of the story, and in doing so, make the audience feel something. A good story can accomplish that on a short-term, superficial level. The audience may care about the characters or the situation those characters find themselves in, but in order to touch people on a more resonant level, a film has to offer a deeper connection, and Past Lives provides that. This isn't some only in the movies situation. This is a story that feels real, and it's something that most people will be able to relate to and draw parallels to their own lives with. Just how hard-hitting the emotion and personal connection will obviously depend on the individual audience member and their experiences, but that emotion will be there nonetheless. This movie will make you feel something. The second pro is the structure. Although this isn't some confusingly time-bending film, it's not a traditional linear narrative either. The film is bookended by moments from the same time period, but the middle of the film spans a 24-year period, jumping 12 years at a time. For a film so focused on timing and missed chances, this staccatoed structure is perfect for showing the path of this particular relationship. The 3 different time periods let us see these characters at various stages of their lives, while also exploring what they mean to each other during each of those stages. This makes the tale of their relationship all the more poignant and impactful. Pro number 3 is the cinematography. Really, I probably could have broadly lumped all of the technical aspects together for this final pro, but the cinematography really stood out. Much of this film focuses on typically uncinematic things. 2 people texting one another, sending Facebook messages back and forth, talking on Skype. Phone and computer screens are so banal that they're rarely a source of great visual intrigue within a film, but the creative ways they're filmed here keep things interesting, while still retaining that commonplace reality. And the time away from screens? Even better. From the expertly crafted visual metaphor of young Nora's stairway ascent, to the backlit Montauk romance, to the reflective New York City puddles, this is a beautiful and carefully crafted film. On the con side, my only issues are just very minor nitpicks. There are some illogicalities to the story that seem to be in place only to keep the main characters apart. Unexplained inability to travel, sudden bouts of seeming forgetfulness, some bizarre character choices. It's all within the realm of possibility, and makes the longing of the film greater, but it'll no doubt have you repeatedly thinking, wait, what? Why don't they just do blank? This film also takes its time setting things up. Maybe a touch too much time. The bulk of the film's emotional payoff comes during the third act, and while the setup and journey to that point are essential, it does feel a bit meanderingly long until we settle into the rhythm of their relationship. Before I give you my rating and recommendations, I want to remind you that if you're interested in buying Past Lives or any of the other films I mentioned today, I do have affiliate links for all of them in the description below. I get a small commission from anything you buy using one of my links, so I'd really appreciate it if you'd use them if you're in the market for any of these movies. I'm gonna give Past Lives 4.5 out of 5 paws. It's a quiet, achingly reflective story that's deceptively simple from a plot perspective, but packs an incredibly poignant and hard-hitting emotional punch that's bound to connect with most audience members on a very relatable, personal level. I would recommend Past Lives to people looking for a strong romantic drama. This film doesn't tackle the usual aspects of relationships and romance, but rather focuses on the melancholic longing of missed connection, lost chances, and fate. It's a simple story, and you're not going to see any big romantic gestures or plans to meet atop the Empire State Building, but you will see a very touching and likely relatable scenario that plays out across several decades in an achingly poignant way. If you liked Past Lives, I would recommend Brief Encounter. Like Past Lives, this is a romance film about connection, and the concept of union could easily be applied to the two leads here as well. The passage of time doesn't play as big a factor, but timing certainly does in this tender, relatable, and aching story. If you liked the longing and continued connection on display in Past Lives, you might want to watch Before Sunset. This is the second film in the Before trilogy, so watching Before Sunrise would be a good idea too, but the story explores a brief 9 years later reunion between the two leads as they recognize that the strength of their connection has remained, despite everything else about their lives changing. And if you liked the idea of union and want another romance about fate, you should check out Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. It takes a bit of a sci-fi approach with the memory-wiping plotline, but has some similar themes and even an important romantic Montauk moment. Plus, fittingly, it's actually watched by one of the characters in Past Lives. Alright, a couple questions for you guys. Number 1, have you seen Past Lives? If so, what'd you think of it? And number 2, what's your favorite movie that explores a relationship over multiple time periods? Be sure to leave your answers in the comments below so we can get a discussion going. Alright, so if you got some enjoyment, insider information on this review, I'd appreciate if you'd hit that like button. And if you haven't done so already, please hit subscribe while you're at it to see more videos like this. Till next time, this has been Alyssa with Mainly Movies, the way life should be.